And welcome to CBS News Tonight. You know, we've been following the ongoing coverage of the conflict between Russia and Ukraine, and today we bring you a story about a war within a war. It seems like the conflict between the Ukrainians and the Russians is not just about the invasion, but actually LGBTQ plus rights. Here to talk about that is our correspondent in Kiev, Will Witt. Will Witt, welcome.
Thanks, Amala. I'm here on the scene. Things are pretty crazy around here. There's, oh my goodness, bombs, all sorts of stuff. But we have to remember what the fight is really about, and that is trans rights. That's what this whole conflict is about, and we have to remember that.
Can you explain that further, Will? What exactly is happening on the ground in Kiev with trans people?
Well, let's not worry about all that. Let's just worry about the fact that trans people are sequestered into a bad place in society, and without them, we don't have America. I mean, Ukraine. And it's very important that we look after them.
A powerful, powerful message tonight brought to you by our correspondent, Will Witt in Kiev, Ukraine. Thank you so much, Will.
Thanks, Amala.
And scene. Guys, welcome to Will and Amala Live. Hope you guys are enjoying your Tuesday. We're here with you today. We're going to talk a number of stories. SNL, energy independence versus dependence. Is there a trans rights movement in Ukraine that people are not focusing on? CBS News brings us a story. The gall. Yale is going full diversity, equity, and inclusion. I have a new 5-minute video. Joe Rogan comes after Bill Gates, and it's TikTok Tuesday, so we'll get there at the end of the show today. Let's start off with this new skit out of SNL talking about, you know, this new age idea of COVID. By new age, I mean exactly what we thought 2 years ago. But here is this SNL skit, and we will react to it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, having those uncomfortable conversations. My question is, who made those conversations uncomfortable? Because these are supposed to... Thank you.
Oh, sorry. I thought we were just playing the laugh track after Unfunny things. My bad.
Yeah, it seems like Saturday Night Live was a very pivotal in contribution when it came to the COVID narrative. Every single Saturday making jokes about what we should and should not be doing, and at our expense as conservatives who said, hey, maybe it's not the best idea to run with your fears here and allow the government to control everything that you do with your life. But 2 years later, they get to come and just wash that all away with this very unfunny skit.
It wasn't funny at all.
Yeah.
Like, even there's some things on the left where I'm like, okay, it's a little bit funny, but there was no point. Like, she made a funny voice, like, what are you up to? Mm-hmm. And that's the comedy of it, that you made a funny voice. That's the punchline.
Right.
It's not even creative or artistic or funny or anything that pokes any fun at any sort of truth.
Yep.
It's just unfunny.
Yeah. If they were truly being honest, they would have went, careful. SNL is making skits about this every Saturday night that paint you as an incompassionate terrorist. That's what they really should have said, because that's what they've been doing for the past 2 years.
Right. It's the same people who pushed all of this nonsense on us for 2 years, made jokes about anti-vaxxers, anti-maskers, people who are against the lockdowns, who don't stay in their homes, all this type of stuff. Thanks, Taylor.
Thanks, Taylor.
That's exactly
Good
right.
job.
No, that's exactly right. But making jokes about all of those things, and then in their own personal lives, when they're not making jokes, all over their social media, saying bad things about those types of people, and then they come out and just, it's like it's too little too late again. It's like the same type of argument where it's like, oh, now you want to come out and make jokes or talk about like, oh, maybe these things aren't work. If you want to admit your faults and say, hey, I was wrong, that's fine. But they're not actually coming out and admitting they're wrong. They're trying to do it in some weird, not funny way that's supposed to be funny and connect Americans or something. I don't even know. It's ridiculous. So stupid.
Maybe we shouldn't stop being friends with people who are unvaccinated. But wait, who proposed that? The people that you support and your show itself. It's just so amazing to me that now, because the COVID narrative is widely unpopular and people are sort of realizing, oh, maybe I dedicated 2 years of my life to something wrong here. And maybe I want to go back to my normal life. You know, that normal life that I stole from other people with the things that I said. said. Now they go, okay, well, we can just wipe that slate clean. We can make a funny sketch about how we are now sane people who don't agree with mask mandates and telling everybody that they need to be vaccinated. And I actually agree with reading facts and studies now. And that wipes away the entire history of what you've done for the past 2 years, all because the narrative has changed. And they shift with the narrative. Suddenly, ABC's doing the same thing. The Atlantic's doing the same thing. New York Times is doing the same thing, going, you know what, guys? Maybe we're done with this. Even the CDC, head doctors for the CDC coming out and saying, okay, maybe we were wrong here. And because that has the word has left the horse's mouth, now all the little pawns down below can do the same.
Well, all of these people should be publicly shamed for what they did, and you should not let them forget what they said. If they try and walk back on it knowing that they're not doing it because they actually learned something, but because they're doing it because the narrative has changed, let them know that they said these things. Shame them for it. Post on your social media what they said. I mean, that Defiant L's page, why do you think that Twitter page is so popular? Because it posts what people said and then the hypocrisy and moronic nature of what they said. And it's a mirror that shows it right back to them. And this is exactly the same thing. These people should be shamed for what they said, and we can't let them forget. And we can't forget what they said and what they did to us. We can't forget what these people did.
Yeah, there's two things that nobody wants to say, and it's I don't know and I was wrong. And both of these things should be said in this case because you have a bunch of comedians who've been telling you how to live your life for the past 2 years. Just so ridiculous to watch.
Not even comedians. They're not even funny.
Well, yeah. Well,
people who are attempting to be comedians, but it's just not funny.
They try, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't think they try.
It seems like it.
It'd be really hard to figure that that's trying. If they're trying, that's really sad.
Right.
You know? That would mean they have no talent.
I mean, yeah, but still people watch SNL.
Do they?
I think so. I haven't looked at the ratings in a while, but the show's still running, so I imagine that people watch it.
Right.
So somebody likes that.
If you're in the comments right now, do any of you guys watch SNL? Have you watched SNL in years? I haven't watched it in years and years.
Spencer made a poll asking the audience on the Will and Amala Live YouTube channel, which you should be subscribed to, if they watch SNL, and it's 97% say no.
I can't imagine people watch it. Who watches it?
You know, me and Taylor were talking about like this golden age of SNL, at least when I was younger, and I was watching SNL when you had like Jimmy Fallon and Bill Hader and like Stefan and all the little fun characters. And even before that with Chevy Chase, it's just like, wow, everything has gone downhill.
No, it used to be funny. I'm not a huge like comedy type of person. I don't really watch comedies and things like that like SNL, but there were things back in the day that used to be really funny. Mm-hmm. Stuff on Mad TV used to be really funny.
Yes.
There's a lot of funny
I loved
things
Mad
like
TV.
that. Yeah, but now it's just nonsense.
It's because they're incentivized to just do clapter and make things that leftist people will laugh at. It's like that's why there used to be good interview shows, like late night shows and stuff, and now it's all just Stephen Colbert prancing around with neat people dressed up like vaccine needles.
I know,
and that's supposed to be funny.
But it's even beyond just the politics. Like it's just not, the jokes don't even land. There's just nothing funny about it, regardless.
Remember when Jimmy Fallon was about Jimmy and Will and Christina Aguilera putting on tight pants and singing about it?
I just watched that last week again. It's so good.
No longer are the days of comedy in this show. You haven't seen that?
No.
Every single day I got my tight pants. I got my whatever. It's fine. I'm not going to go through the whole song for you guys.
No, you can keep going. I mean,
Please.
Give the people what they want, Amala.
Right.
No, but there was just a time where comedy was funny, and I think it comes from comedy being sort of out of respect. Even though you may have disagreed with people that you were imitating and things like that, you still respected them. And when you have that level of respect and this want to understand the people that you are making fun of, comedy is so much better. That's when comedy truly lands, is when the demographic that you're making fun of can recognize that you actually understand them. Like the stereotypes that you're making about them actually land and there's actually truth to them. That's what makes comedy funny. But now it's, I hate these people. I want to bully them. I want to paint this caricature of them and do it live on TV so that the people who like me laugh.
You want to embarrass them. It's malicious.
Yeah. Yep.
It's not about coming together as a form of comedy. Like that's like when you're between friends and you say racist jokes to each other and you're friends, you do that because you're friends. Mm-hmm. And it's like what brings you closer together is making jokes like that about each other, right? But if you're like saying it in a mean way or a malicious way, then it's not really a joke so much. It's that you probably hate the person.
Right.
And that's what these people have in their comedy.
Like the best comedians can come into a room where absolutely nobody has anything connected to like their upbringing, their background, where they live, their socioeconomic status, anything like that. And they can make that group of people laugh, even though there's such a disconnect between the way that they live. That's good comedy. And good comedy is born out of respect and understanding. And SNL lost that ages ago.
Right. I don't think they understand much.
No, they don't. Now, speaking of not understanding the current situation or the modern age, here is CBS News with a story about a war within a war. While we are talking about Russia's invasion of Ukraine and the ongoing struggles there, CBS is choosing to focus on what it's like to lead a transgender life in the country of Ukraine. The question is this an accurate depiction? Here's the video. For one woman in Kiev,
sometimes we think it's just all a dream.
Here's this
that we stuck in
story
inside some kind of a video game, because you just you live in a quiet society, and then you hear bombings, and then you wake up to the sound of bombings. I don't want to go outside. I'm literally scared for my life.
Mm-hmm. Famelu, who is transgender, told CBS News she's alone in her country.
The city. My neighbors left my floor and I think my building.
And fears what could happen if she tries to leave. Many people in the city have weapons, which she believes could make her situation all the more dangerous.
This is not a very rainbow-friendly place. So lives for trans people are very bleak here.
And if she can somehow surpass the violence and make it to the border, she's not even sure she would be allowed to cross.
If you have male gender in your passport, they will not let you go abroad. They will not let you through.
Ukrainian law mandates transgender people undergo extensive psychiatric observation and other steps to change their gender on legal documents.
A war within a war, truly, truly.
Famelu is desperate to escape Kiev, especially as her food supply dwindles. And the battle outside her apartment grows more intense by the day.
Every noise from outside is a warning sign. It was hell living as a trans person in Kiev, in Ukraine. We feel invisible, truly. Like we're not people, like we're not human. It's truly how we feel.
Okay.
How old is this trans person?
I don't know. I would just be speculating. Maybe late 20s, early 30s.
Late 20s, early 30s?
Possibly.
This person should be fighting in the war. I mean, this person is a man. They should be fighting in the war.
Well, technically. I don't know what procedures this person has undergone.
Right. But I mean, you know, that's what fighting age men do. When your homeland is attacked, you defend it.
Yeah, it's pointing out a very interesting conundrum that I had not thought of, because why would one think about how this would affect a country at war? But yeah, if this person tried to escape, say, to Poland by foot or something like that, they would be turned away and conscripted because their identification says male. Now, I don't know if that's despite, you know, hormone therapy or sex reassignment surgery or things like that, but it is something that I never thought about until I saw this story. Yeah. It's very strange.
No, it is very strange. I mean, I think, I just don't know why that's what people are worried about right now. And also, if she's like there, for all these leftists and people who are coming out and defending Ukraine so vehemently and like it's the battle of our time, and then they watch this video and see Ukraine isn't very nice to their precious trans ideology that they talk about, yet they still have the Ukrainian flags in their bio. I mean, the contradictions just don't stop. Every single day, it's just contradiction after contradiction, hypocrisy after hypocrisy. You're not defending a liberal democracy when you're defending Ukraine. I mean, that much should be obvious, whatever you think about this. You're not defending a liberal democracy. It's not like America or Western Europe or any of these, or Canada or any of these other places.
Yeah, it's just so interesting that CBS News chose to focus on this in the wake of everything that's going on right now. And as far as the threat that's posed, I cannot speak to Ukrainian politics or Ukrainian civil society, whether or not they are truly accepting of LGBTQ plus people or whatnot. But it's just an interesting story to focus on when hundreds and thousands of people have their lives at risk right now in this country. And it goes to show what influences American news the most and what we truly try to focus on as a country. It's these sort of menial social issues when you sort of step out of yourself and look at the world through the scope of war that now CBS News is choosing to focus on.
Yeah.
It's just insane. And as far as I tried to look into this a little bit and see what the true threat of maybe a hate crime being committed, because she stipulated in this video, I'm scared to leave my house because now Ukrainians have weapons and they're outside my house. And it doesn't seem like hate crimes are that pervasive in Ukrainian society. I was reading earlier that less than 20 hate crimes happened against LGBTQ plus people in Ukraine in the year of 2019. As far as that goes for 2020 and 2021, I imagine it is not worsened at all. They speculate it's because a lot of people don't go to the police with these sort of issues, but as far as a problem, there's very little evidence to suggest that. So it's just an interesting thing, and it shows the ideological underpinnings of everything that our mainstream media chooses to focus on and chooses to report out of the CBS News story.
Well, right. Again, it's like we're hearing from all these people that we're defending democracy. We're defending a democracy in Ukraine with all this. Ukraine is not a democracy. The president of Ukraine, I mean, he shut down 3 TV stations that opposed him. He went and arrested the leader of the political party that got second place in the election to him and jailed other people within the party. Like, this is not a government that America should be looking to emulate. That doesn't mean that you can't feel sympathy for people who are being attacked in Ukraine. It's sad. But to sit here and defend and act like this is some liberal democracy we're defending is just it's just not true. It's just not true. And that to have that what they're focused on, and then the trans ideology that they're focused on, it's like, what is really going on here? I don't know. It seems like a whole bunch of nonsense. I can't say.
This is a hard one to follow, I will admit. I've been on Twitter, obviously, through the duration of all of this and reading the news and all of this stuff, and then I'll see a story, and then the next day it'll say that story was fake. And I'll see a video, and the next day it'll say that video is propaganda. And I'll see a video, and the next one, oh, well, that video's fake. It's actually from 2011, or that picture of the Ukrainian president is actually from April of 2021. This is really difficult to follow. How anybody is watching everything that's happening right now and providing substantive commentary on it is beyond me, considering how much stuff is coming out regarding this and then being proven false.
Right. Yeah, there is so much propaganda, which we don't have to really get into too much of it here.
No,
we don't want to get into it. But in terms of the stuff that's happening, just question all of this stuff, guys. That is what it is. This isn't just some black and white issue that you can look at and say, okay, this is exactly what's happening in Ukraine. This is what's happening in Russia. This is why Putin's doing it. This is what Zelensky's saying, and think that it's all just hunky-dory. You have 2 corrupt governments fighting each other, and you have Americans stoking the fear of our people and listening to media reports of people who are not telling the truth. What do you think people are going to believe? Just question all these things happening, okay? That's what I can tell you. You don't need, you're like many of you guys who are watching, I mean, you guys don't work in politics. You don't work in some political field or nonprofit, whatever it is. Like, you are not responsible for making the political decisions for this country. You can have moral outrage about things that are happening. When you see a country get attacked and you see people are suffering, you can be outraged about that, of course. But you don't have to make some grand fiscal or foreign policy decision on what is going on. You just don't have to. There's no point. But they want you to. They want you to feel so incredibly outraged about this. There's a war going on in Turkey right now. There's wars going on in Africa right now. You guys aren't hearing anything about that. No one's outraged about that. No one's putting the Democratic Republic of Congo flag in their bio, right? That's not happening. But for some reason, it's happening now with this conflict. There is more going on. All I'm saying is just question all the stuff that you are seeing, all the stuff that is happening, and be wary of whatever that people are telling you to believe. The same people who for the last 2 years have literally lied about everything. The New York Times just came out with an article today. I'm not sure if you guys read the New York Times. Probably most of you guys don't like watching Saturday Night Live, but I read a lot of the leftist news. And the New York Times put out an article this morning talking about, even if the vaccines aren't safe in trials for people who are under 5 years old, we should do it anyway. That is the insidious nature of our American media. And so the fact that people are coming and just bending over backwards and believing them now about this Ukraine crisis has me very worried that I think conservatives and people are falling into the same trap that they've wanted us to fall into for the entire COVID pandemic when it comes to inflation, when it comes to George Floyd, when it comes to all this stuff. Just saying, be careful, okay? These people are liars, and they are not to be trusted.
Yeah. I mean, in any facet of, there's so many different metaphors and analogies you can use for this. Typically, the abusive boyfriend does not get better. So why are we all of a sudden thinking that he is?
That's right.
Something to keep in mind here with not just this, with everything that they tell you. Literally everything. So we're not trying to just come down on this one particular conflict. Everything deserves a healthy amount of skepticism when being sold to you by these entities.
I mean, Eric Swalwell, who had sex with a Chinese spy, he came on and was talking about that if you disagree with this narrative, you are probably a Russian asset. You're probably pro-Putin, Russian asset, helping Russia in this fight. And, yeah, what? I know. It's funny. That's what he did. He did. Yeah. And he wants to come on and talk about moral standings. It's sex with a Chinese spy.
But it's the epitome of gaslighting. You're the spy. I'm the one who's left with the Chinese
I know.
spy.
This is what he did. It's insane. Anyway, but he's coming on saying this. And these people are calling, like Nancy Pelosi, others, they're calling for the shutdown of speech of people who are coming and saying things that are considered disinformation about this. They want to take away your First Amendment rights for speaking your mind or having a difference of opinion.
Gaslight and gatekeep, baby.
How can you say that you can trust these people when they say if you have a difference of opinion, they want to shut you down? That is craziness.
It is crazy.
These people are not to be trusted.
One more Russian and Ukraine related story, and this is an article put out by Michael Schellenberger on Barry Weiss's Substack that you guys can go and check out. The title of this is The West Green Delusions Empowered Putin. And essentially what he goes through and talks about here is sort of all of our pushes for renewable energy and sustainable energy, as the WEF, World Economic Forum, calls it, the Green New Deal, things like that, pushing for solar and wind energy rather than relying on what we know to work, oil and nuclear, and sort of outsourcing where we get those supplies has been a massive problem for not only us, but other countries as part of NATO and the European Union. He goes through and talks about Germany specifically and how Germany, when they were functioning at 30% of their energy coming from nuclear, has now decreased that down to 11%, shutting down 3 major nuclear plants in their country. And these massive moves that we need to do to start pulling that forward and engaging in that sector of energy, because Russia is way ahead of us and knows how strong they are in comparison to the United States and other world powers. And it's an amazing part of this conflict that I feel like is not being talked about enough, and why Russia feels so powerful in the endeavors that it's taking on right now.
Yeah, they're going to shut down 3 more nuclear plants. Their last 3. Germany is. They're going to shut down their last 3.
Like,
this is
why?
I know. It's just so dumb.
Why?
Shutting down their coal plants.
We're doing it in California too, by the way.
Yeah, we are doing it in California. Right? We're doing this exact same thing, and it's so dumb. We already have some of the highest energy costs. In California, we have 1 in 5 people live in energy poverty, which means that their energy costs are turning them into impoverished people in the state, essentially. That's what it means. And it's self-inflicted. It's self-inflicted. This green energy nonsense, it's self-inflicted. You can change it. Listen, if green energy worked, we should all be on board with it. But the capacity for it to be an alternative energy for these European countries, which if you look at a map, it's cold in these places and the sun doesn't always shine. Right. I mean, to think that it's going to work there is nonsense. If you want to build the technology and do it in the free market sector and not have to rely on government subsidies, go ahead. I think that's a great thing, and it can be very moral to do that. But until we have that technology, don't jump the gun. But they're jumping the gun for virtue signaling reasons, not for reasons that actually are backed by science or helping people. It's for virtue signaling reasons. They want to show everyone that we're so good. Carbon levels have capped in the United States and in the European Union. Okay? The amount of pollution that is coming from these countries is minimal compared to the amount that is coming from China and India.
Yep.
Okay? If we were to stop using fossil fuels, I mean, we would still be putting out more carbon into the air because of China in the next 10 years, more than we put out in the last 10 years, just because of the amount that they are using. Okay? Does that make sense what I'm saying? We would put out more, even without us doing anything, if we just all lived in huts made of mud. Like that's what we're looking at. But still, it's all based on just feelings.
It really is. It amazes me how we're getting sold on everything. It's just how propaganda can really infiltrate a society and change a complete and utter narrative. Now you have people even questioning whether or not they want to have children based on the environment and the narrative from environmentalists. And it's affected our energy sector, and it's made us a weaker country. It's made several countries a weaker country. Like I said, Germany's scaling back their nuclear power in the wake of all of this. It just amazes me that you can see this right in front of your face and still go towards this emotional, not very fact-driven argument that's being made. And when we know it's unreliable, we have a great 5-minute video on the Texas freeze and why that happened, and why these sort of renewable energy sources and resources that we are pushing for can be heavily unreliable, even though they are sold to you as a reliable energy source. And it's basically with the simple fact that wind and solar are inconsistent. And you'd think it would be something that people would just consciously know and think of and go, hey, those dots quite don't, they don't really connect right there where you're making that argument, but people don't.
Right. And there's some leftists or people who are more liberal who are coming out and saying that they support nuclear energy and they understand. And when you actually take a step back and you want to help the environment, it makes sense. But the elites and the people in charge of this country, the World Economic Forum types, the elitists, the European Union, all these types of people, they're useless.
And again, you can go and read this article. It's written by Michael Schellenberger, who is a formerly self-proclaimed progressive, and I guess is somewhat politically homeless in his endeavors. But he talks about his sort of take on how he views energy and how that changed, his view of climate change and how that changed. And he comes from it from a largely unbiased yet vastly expertised standpoint on this. So he's a great person to follow on this.
You guys should definitely read Apocalypse Never. Did you read his book?
I have not read Apocalypse Never. I have San Francisco.
Yeah, Apocalypse Never is very good. He talks about his travels going through third world countries. And a lot of these third world countries were given what you could say was renewable energy by different governments around the world. And the renewable energy didn't help them at all. What they wanted was fossil fuels to help them. I know we're going to hear in the comments of the shills for fossil fuels, as what conservatives are, taking money from fracking billionaires. But that's not what this is about. This is about the truth. It is about the truth of the matter, and the matter is that natural gas, nuclear are the future. The renewable energies, unless they figure something else out to make them work better, which again, totally fine with, just figure it out. It's just not the way.
Yeah, that is something to point out. Totally fine if you figure out how to make it reliable and sustainable. Completely fine. I'm okay with that. You want to use wind, you want to use solar? Absolutely. Just make it work sustainably to where we don't have things happening like what happened in Texas.
Right. And if you can find a way to mine the resources of solar panels without using fossil fuels, good luck with that. Or transfer the wind turbines without fossil fuels, or cut the wind turbines with a diamond saw that runs on fossil fuels, good luck with that.
Right, or all the zinc that you're taking from the Amazon for electric cars and all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
Stop the windmills from killing birds and the solar panels from leaching heavy metals into the water supply.
Yeah, you know.
Right.
There's
California with the windmills made a species of small tortoise go extinct.
I did not
it's
know
sad.
that.
Franklin.
Poor Franklin.
Schindlappen.
But we got rid of the plastic straws for the turtles.
This just shows you, though, that we really are dealing with ideology here, in the sense that if you're willing to look at the damage that you're doing, the economic devastation that you are wreaking and causing, like you're punishing everyday middle-class Americans at the gas pump, taking money from them because of your commitment to ideology and to virtue signaling about green energy. If you would just allow us to have domestic production of oil, we were energy independent. If we could achieve that again, the gas prices would go down. There's a reason they were much lower a year and a half ago than they are today. And it's the same thing that we talk about on the show all the time with this gender ideology stuff. They push it on kids, and then before you know it, they're injecting children with hormones and doing this blind affirmation approach, even though they know that causes psychological harm. And you see that in the outcomes in depression and suicide rates, but they're willing, for the sake of their ideology, to directly cause or overlook harm. Same thing with policing. It's just across the board. And that you're not dealing with people who are like just rational people who can look at the evidence of harm being caused by their policies, who will change their mind for most of the time. And that is the scary part.
Yeah, very
exactly
unfortunate. Right. Very unfortunate. Speaking of creating more of these people, Yale University is launching a diversity, equity, and inclusion program that is going to infiltrate all 25 divisions on Yale's campus. This is part of an ongoing plan that they started in October of 2020. Now they have infographic posters. We all know the left loves infographics that they're putting on. So this is going to be within their divisions of science, law, architecture, art, STEM, music, medicine, management, nursing, health, and the environment, as we just spoke about. They're going to be focusing on diversity, equity, and inclusion as part of an overall campus project dubbed Belonging at Yale. This is very helpful, I think.
Why do you say that?
Because when I look at the Yale campus, the only thing I think is too many white people. We need more. We need more blacks. We need more Hispanics. Let's throw them in there. That's really what's going to change the state of higher education in this nation.
More gays?
More gays,
lesbians,
more trans people, more two-spirit people.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you got to get the two-spirits.
Got to have the two-spirits.
I think you're exactly right. This is very helpful because it makes me know exactly where I will never send my kids to school.
Yes.
And that's helpful for me.
Accurate.
Yeah.
I wanted so badly when I was younger to go to Yale. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to go to Yale. And I got the little packet in the mail from them, like, come to our campus. Luckily, that did not happen. But oh, it just sucks to see what we often looked at as just these beacons of education and mental fortitude and intellect just fall for the same exact trick that everybody else falls for. And that is this DEI, critical race theory, whatever word you want to call it now, because they keep, changing the word to keep you on your toes. It's so sad to see the state of affairs at college campuses.
Yeah. Just don't send your kids to college.
Yeah,
that's the best course of action.
I mean,
don't send your kids to college.
Yeah, if they
I
don't
know
need
there's a lot of pressure to go to college. If you don't go to college, you're stupid. You're a redneck. That's like basically what the ivory tower elitists think of you. And you don't go to college, you're probably some stupid plumber or something. But don't believe these people and don't listen to their lies. And don't let their opinions affect your choices when choosing what you want to do with your life. You have no obligation to go to college and get indoctrinated or pay hundreds of thousands of dollars. Take a gap year at least and try and figure out a little bit about the world. You will be better off for it.
Right. Yeah. If you're going into something that you don't need college for, do not use college. And it's so weird because I remember sort of just the brain training that they did on me, and I'm sure they did on you guys as kids too, where it was just like elementary school, middle school, high school, college. There's no other choice. You have no other option. You have to go to college. In fact, it is the most important thing you will ever do in your life is this 4 years of college. And then all these people that I meet who are widely successful and having great lives didn't go to college.
Right. No, it's if you don't go to college, you're stupid. That's what they say.
Yeah.
You can only be smart in America or educated if you go to college, which is just nonsense.
Right.
There's certain things. Okay, sure. You want to go to college and you need to learn how to do surgery. There's not really many other places you can do it.
Exactly.
But like a communications degree, you went into college and came out more stupid than when you went in, and now you're $200,000 in debt. So good job. It's just not worth it. It's really not worth it.
Yeah, who would ever go to college? That's like so dumb.
Yeah, who would ever pursue multiple degrees, huh, Taylor?
Yeah, I mean, this one's got to be tough for Hot Scott, honestly, because he went to Yale.
I know.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, Scott.
And Scott's a straight white male, too.
That is true.
I don't know how
and conservative.
I know.
Wow, how did that happen?
And if you already went through college, there are people here who are older, and you know your college is pushing nonsense, stop donating to your alma mater as well. Mm-hmm. That's also very important because these people will make changes based on how people donate to them after they leave. And a lot of decisions they leave, I mean, so many decisions when I was just even thinking about back when I was in school in Boulder, and there were decisions being made basically by the alma mater donating to the school. And if they didn't like something that was happening at the school, they would stop donating and the school would change it to get their money.
Right.
So it's actually a very important tool that you have with your pocketbook to not just sign that form that says, hey, every month I'm going to donate this much to my school or whatever. Just don't do it. Don't do it. Let them fester.
Yeah.
Very
to that point too. I mean, I love my alma mater LSU, but they had some of the hardest vaccine mandates and mask stuff, and I've seen plenty of woke stuff coming out of there. Jonathan Coppola's talked about it some, a PragerU influencer. But anyway, it saddens me, but I can in good conscience support them, and that's like a school in the South in the SEC. So Lord knows how it is in the elite institutions and everywhere else.
Support the people who support you, ladies and gentlemen, and people who are going to push DEI are not supporting you. Speaking of DEI, Yes, thank you. Speaking of DAI, which I think is a direct representation of systemic racism, although the left would disagree, there's a new 5-minute video out featuring me. Where we talk where we talk about how to end systemic racism. It's my first 5-minute video, which is such an honor considering 5-minute videos were just so pivotal to me changing my mind as a young deranged youth. So here's a little clip from my first 5-minute video. There is systemic racism in this country, and people of color are paying a terrible price because of it. The elites who have instigated this moral crime deserve to be exposed for what they've done. The sooner we call attention to them, the sooner we expose their regressive ideas, the sooner we live in a more just society. No truth, no peace. Pause right there. You guys can go and check that out by going to PragerU.com.
You're not gonna watch more?
No.
Why not?
I can't give it away.
Well, you're not giving it away, but...
I don't know. I said there's systemic racism in America. You guys got to go figure out where it's from.
Chat. Where's it from, chat?
I knew she was still a lib.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I can hear the comments now.
It's the Russian Putin shills.
Now we're going to get on to what is a very unique roast. This is a roast Joe Rogan put out of Bill Gates, which I wasn't expecting. I saw this trending on Twitter. 1.6 million views on this. Here's what Joe Rogan from the Joe Rogan Experience had to say about Bill Gates.
When a guy like that says that, I'm like, are you making money because of this? Like, why are you saying that? And by the way, you look like shit. Like, because if you're eating those plant-based burgers or whatever the fuck you're doing, like, you're obese. Like, a guy like that telling people about he's got these breasts and this gut, and I'm like, this is crazy. You're one of the richest guys on earth.
I wasn't expecting that much profanity in this video, but he goes on to say, how could anybody trust Bill Gates with prescriptions and policy prescriptions for their health when that's what Bill Gates looks like? And you know what? Okay.
It's a great point.
Set aside the cheap shots to people's appearance and things like that. If you have a position of power and you are choosing that position of power to instigate what other people do with their health and with their lifestyles, you better believe that you should be leading a healthy lifestyle and have that outwardly showing. And it's something that we run into as a problem here in the United States all the time. Look at our Secretary of Health right now. It makes no sense. It is completely illogical to have people who are clearly, I mean, to the human eye, unhealthy, giving you policy prescriptions for what you do with your body and your health. Ridiculous.
Yeah, I remember when I used to work at this gym for years and years. I was a lifeguard and camp counselor for kids and all sorts of stuff. And there were personal trainers at this gym. And there was this one personal trainer who was large. She was a heavy woman, right? And I wondered how she could be a personal trainer. Why would you go to a personal trainer who doesn't even take care of themselves? It doesn't make any sense.
No, you know, I feel like throughout my childhood, like, you're not a PE teacher if you're not overweight. I've never had like a fit PE teacher in my life.
I had a very fit PE teacher.
Did you? Did you, Taylor?
I had so many. I think I had every possible. You always have like the stereotypical female PE teacher who does not look like a female. That's what I had. There's a mustache in there. And,
yeah, exactly. Just huge. Yeah.
But yeah, why do people like that get to tell you what to do with your health?
No, exactly. America's the sickest society in the world. We literally have the most corrupt healthcare system in the world. With teaming up with the healthcare, with the FDA and the CDC and the USDA, all of these things working together to make us a sick society.
Yeah, but Bill Gates gets to tell you to not eat animals anymore and to drink soy milk or Soylent or whatever it is.
Disgusting.
And crickets.
Yeah. Bill Gates is the one who also, with his company, owns shares in Remdesivir. And Remdesivir was terrible for people with COVID. It did not work. It actually made people's symptoms worse. And they told you, don't take any of these other alternatives. Take Remdesivir. And people died because of that.
There's so much wrong with what Bill Gates does. Let's do another one. He funded a institute that was telling people that math was racist, this equitable math program. Bill Gates, just really get into that. The founder of Microsoft funded a campaign to tell you that math is racist. He's also given over $300 million to mainstream media to report on his political endeavors and to show you guys all these leftist talking points. Not a good dude, particularly not a healthy dude. And so far removed from what the true reality is to be a lower class or middle class American. He did a segment on, I believe, Ellen, where he went on and Ellen showed him grocery store items and asked him to just say how expensive they are. I think he thought a bag of pizza rolls was like $50. He's so removed from what it's like to lead a typical American lifestyle, yet gets to stand in his ivory tower and tell everybody else what they're supposed to do with their lives.
It's $1 a pizza
Amazes
roll.
me.
Each pizza roll is $1. 50 in a bag.
It's a crazy video. I mean, go look up that video of him on Ellen just trying to name how much things cost. It's ridiculous what he thinks.
No one should pay $50 for pizza. No one should. First of all, no one should pay for pizza rolls in the first place. They're disgusting.
Pizza rolls might cost $50 before long, if this inflation doesn't suck.
That is true.
That's exactly right.
He was just thinking ahead, like Bill Gates always does. He always thinks for the future.
True innovator.
But I'm liking this game. He also is buying up farmland in America and using it for his own gains. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation also has ties to Ukraine. Oh, wow. What do you think about that?
In China.
Great. Yeah, okay.
He's also buying beachfront properties while griping about how rising sea levels are going to destroy the world.
Right. If you don't eat bugs, you're a racist.
Yep.
You better start eating bugs. Also, can you search for bug restaurants on Bing, please? Stop using Google.
Yes.
It's very important.
Let's test this medication on you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Anyways, guys.
Not a good dude.
Not a good dude. Really. I think virtually he's pretty much disliked by people on both sides of the aisle, right? Am I wrong about that? Do people like Bill Gates?
For the most part. Yeah.
Okay.
But again, this isn't a partisan thing. This is the elites versus us.
Yeah, that is very, very true. And if you want to join the fight in the elites versus us, you can join the fight by donating to PragerU. Not everybody can go out there and make content. Not everybody wants to make content, but you can be the person who supports the fighters being me, Will, Taylor, everybody else here who works at PragerU, which is almost at 100 employees and quickly growing. Thank you guys so much for your support. I want to show you this page. It's prageru.com/donate. And we are asking you in the month of March, think about that. Do you want to support the people who are creating this content, changing young minds, and really putting the message and the narrative out there that needs to be taught, not the false propagandized narrative of the news media?
Yeah. And while I'm talking, you guys can go to prageru.com/donate so you can skip my part for when Amala comes back on again. But you can go. And if every single person watching right now donates $20, we could reach 1 million people.
That's true.
If every single person right now donates $20, that's not that much. I know times are tough right now. But if every single person donated that much, we could reach 1 million people. If everyone right now donated $50, we could reach every single person in America. I mean, it's truly incredible. So please help us in the fight. It really means a lot. We are a nonprofit, so we are not a for-profit company. We rely on your donations. If you want to keep the lights on here, keep Amala with a job.
I will make a cardboard sign if you guys don't donate.
No, but really, it keeps us going. So thank you guys and God bless you. I really, really appreciate it.
Now,
make sure Will can buy his $50 pizza rolls.
Yeah.
Yes. Each pizza roll is $50.
Each pizza roll is $50. Now, let's get into TikTok Tuesday, the segment we do every single Tuesday where we react to really our favorite Twitter account, which is Libs of TikTok. We lean on them so much. So thanks, girl. I appreciate you. I believe you're also in LA. So shouts out to my girl at Libs of TikTok. Yeah, I think so. So she's holding down the fort here in Los Angeles with us here at PragerU. Let's get into this first TikTok about this young them being upset about being misgendered.
Terrible.
I have a serious fucking question, okay?
Sorry.
What about this outfit and this person screaming?
Yeah, let me just give a profanity warning really quick after the profanity
glad
was
you
said.
did it now, Amala. Thanks.
Let's continue.
Screams woman! How do I keep getting misgendered?
Oh.
Is that it?
That's it.
That's it.
It's just one loud plea to not be misgendered anymore. What about this outfit screams woman? Maybe it is.
The video. What was she wearing?
There we go. Maybe it is your distinct feminine features.
Yeah, it looks like a woman.
Screams woman. Maybe it's because you literally look like a woman.
I put on a plaid shirt you're not supposed to know.
Yeah.
I put on a flannel.
I got on Birkenstocks, man.
Girls love Birkenstocks, especially back in Colorado.
Why did you put on
Birkenstocks.
the sunglasses?
Well, I had the sunglasses on last Tuesday for TikTok Tuesday.
Okay.
And so now I feel like I'll make it a trend.
Oh, got it. Yeah, I'm so sorry.
My mom said TikTok is the worst thing ever invented. Thanks, Mom.
Totally
You're
right,
right, Mom. You are right.
It's based.
You are totally right.
Thank you.
Yeah, you know what? I'm really trying to think about this in all the ways that I can think about it. you should not be surprised that you're being misgendered because it is not the gender that you were born with. And to the human eye, you do look like a female. And it's not even anybody who's purposely coming at you to be rude to you. You just look like a female. And I think that's what's even more just completely deviated from reality is the fact that not only do you think, okay, I'm going to change my gender and I'm going to change that gender for the world, but I also just expect everybody to know that about me, even though it hasn't been communicated other than through some masculine presenting clothes.
Right.
Come
why
on.
It's so narcissistic.
Yeah.
Like you expect everyone else to just bend over backwards now and call you whatever it is that you want, even though they can't tell. It's an accident. I mean, if these people are accidentally calling you something,
right,
and you think that it's so evil and wrong and upset about it, I mean, that's very vain of you to think that.
And most people, if you corrected them, would go, all right, dude, I'll call you he, him, or they, them.
Yeah.
Just chill out for a second.
Yeah.
But no, you expect people to just simply know by looking at you.
Right.
Come on now.
Yeah. Right. And it's like also like the fact that you're coming and posting a video about it on TikTok goes again to show the vanity of it.
Right.
That you can't just live with your problems or figure them out by yourself. You now have to post it on the internet for other people to see.
Yeah. You can't just go, oh, that person misgendered me. I'm going to move on with my day.
Right. It's the end of the world. The world is ending. I'm going to start eating bugs because the world is ending.
It's just so amazing. Here's another one. Apparently, nominating 3 black women for the Supreme Court is still not enough. Now we have to look at who they're married to. Here's another short TikTok.
Just something I noticed about the nominees that Biden selected. I mean, I don't know. Is it like a qualification that you need a white spouse to make it? Just something I know.
Come on. There's always a new layer, man. The goalpost always moves. And albeit she wasn't making like a complete, I'm making this statement that you need to have somebody who also has a black husband. But oh my gosh, how deeply do we need to go with race? First you said, okay, well, there's too many white males on the Supreme Court. And now there's too many males. Okay, we give you a woman. Okay, now there's not enough women. Okay, we give you another woman. Okay, well, now we need black people. Okay, well, you had Clarence Thomas, but okay, we'll give you another black person and we'll make her female as well. And then you go, but her husband's white.
Mm-hmm.
And she's straight. So that's
and
another.
She's cisgendered and straight. Yeah.
I can't believe she's not a lesbian.
Where are we going to go from here?
And she's able-bodied.
Yeah.
Question to ask people when you're talking about this to people and you're asking about ideas and values. It is, would you rather have 9 black, transgender, lesbian females who are on the Supreme Court, but they're conservative? Or would you rather have 9 straight white males who are leftists on the Supreme Court? Ask that to leftists and see what they say. What is more important to them?
Right.
Which one is more important? Their heads are going to explode because they don't know what to say. Do they want their values expressed or do they want the person? And probably they're going to say, well, I'd rather have the 9 black lesbians because that is representing the culture that isn't represented. No, if these are these people's ideas, then you obviously would want the leftists. What would conservatives say? Conservatives would say, I want the 9 black lesbian transgender females.
Yep.
Because it's about values.
Right.
But the left isn't about the values as much. They're about the way you look. They're about the identity politics. So you guys can use that one.
He gives you permission to use that.
We got that for free. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I actually thought that was a really good point or way to frame that argument.
Yeah. Well,
Thanks.
you were going to talk about the Jordan Peterson thing, right? What did Jordan Peterson say specifically about this Supreme Court justice?
He said he was on a podcast I was listening to recently, and this issue came up about is this, should you go for the most qualified person or the person who fits the racial quota profile that you're looking for and gender parameters that you're, and his point was basically people are saying, well, it is the most qualified person. And he's like, well, by definition, by announcing ahead of time that it has to be a black female, black people are 13% of the population, half of that are female. So you have about 6.5%, 7% of the entire talent pool. You're reducing it down to 6.5%, 7%. So 94, 93% of the entire available candidates you are completely eliminating from even being considered just because on the basis of their skin color. And so how are you going to be able to say that that is the most qualified person when you're only looking at 6% of the available options?
Well, being black is the biggest quality.
Yeah, nowadays.
That's what makes you the most qualified to these people. is being black or being a woman or being trans.
But apparently not enough, because now if you're black and you have a white husband, you're not qualified.
Better not be race mixing.
Better call Kamala Harris on that one then.
Mm-hmm.
And even if the husband was black, it would just be something else next time. It's like, well, why don't we have any gay people on the Supreme Court?
Right.
Why isn't your black husband bisexual?
Right. Why is your second cousin's wife white? Please
Disgusting.
explain that to me. How dare you?
How many little person two-spirits do we have on the Supreme Court?
Do you see how racist that is? Imagine if I was running for Supreme Court and my wife was black and someone said, oh my God, his wife is black.
Yep.
We can't have him on the Supreme Court. I mean, the fact that that's even allowed to be said about white people, like you can't even associate with white people, is so racist. It's beyond words. It's beyond words how racist that is.
Yet here we are.
Yet here we are. So good job, idiot leftists, for making everything so racist.
Everything racially obsessed.
Is this a systemic racism you were talking about?
This is part of the systemic racism I was talking about, Will, which you guys can check out in the newest 5-minute video at PragerU by going to PragerU.com, clicking watch, and going to 5-minute videos.
Good job. Well, it should just be right on the homepage.
That
you just
is
go to
true.
PragerU.com, it's going to be right there.
Yeah,
be able
it'll
to
also
find
be on the homepage
Yeah.
with my face on it.
Yes, along with PragerU.com/donate.
One last video. Is this a third world country or is it Seattle? You guys guess. Just garbage strewn everywhere. A Stella Artois box. Somebody's partying. Homeless people. Amazing. Just garbage all over the streets. A man just kicking it out of his way so that he can stand. Beautiful. Picturesque. I can smell the human urine. But at least there's McDonald's. And it's open. Yeah. That's your beautiful city of Seattle.
That is your future, Middle America. Not all of you guys live on the coast, but that is your future. And then you go to that McDonald's, and it's a robot who serves you, and they serve you a McBug.
A McBug.
And that's your future. And then you go back to your tent and put in your Neuralink, and that's your life.
Go back in the metaverse.
Go back in the metaverse.
Really
That's literally
is.
your life. That's what it's going to be, and these people don't care at all.
Man, you guys haven't seen Ready Player One, or you have?
I've seen it.
This is what we're headed towards. Just
A little bit
everything
different,
outside being, it's only a little different. Everything outside your world being a slum and looking like a third world country, but at least you can plug into your VR virtual life and dress up your avatar as much as you want.
Right. This video is important, though, because it shows that literally places in America are third world countries. In Los Angeles on Skid Row, and many places in Hollywood, specifically Skid Row, are third world countries. There in Seattle, you go to Portland, third world country. Places in New York City, Chicago. These are third world countries. These are terrible places to be. There's no way around it when it comes to that. And yet we're focused on things that are happening so far away, all this different type of stuff. And it's like we should be focusing on the Americans at home who are being treated like garbage by the elites and the people who are in control. Why do we just why are people not worried about that? Why are they not worried about what's happening at our southern border?
Yeah.
I mean, this is what people should really, really be worried about right now, because this is your home. This is your backyard. These are your American citizens, your friends, people who you know. And they're being treated like crap.
Yeah, and it's largely the fault of progressive policy, and you can track it down to the day it's implemented nearly. And
Yes.
so many people have done so and made that known to the public, and still nothing happens. Yeah, look at San Francisco, Seattle, New York, Detroit, Chicago. It's just so obvious now, and I just don't understand how we can continue to have this happen. And I think what's going to happen is it's going to move to the areas where these elites are living, these progressive elites who are pushing for this policy, and eventually they will be the ones who cannot ignore it anymore, because it will be in their own backyard. And that's when things are going to start to change. But at that point, is it too late?
You remember that video we reacted to? This was months ago. This must have been 6 months ago. It was Mayor London Breed in San Francisco.
Yes.
And she, what was that about? She said she was going to clean up the streets, or something about homeless, or
It's
was it
ridiculous what's happening to the very own citizens and taxpayers in the city of San Francisco, and we need to bring back aggressive law enforcement for the drugs and the crime. Yeah.
Nothing has changed.
Nothing has changed.
Nothing has changed. I'm pretty sure it's gotten worse. And they keep spending money. When a politician comes and promises you something, all that means is they're going to tax you more and spend more money on a problem that could be solved in a much better way without government intervention. That's what a politician means when they come and promise you something.
'Tis true. 'Tis unfortunate.
It is.
But here we are.
Terrible.
What a gloomy way to end a TikTok Tuesday.
No, but all this can be changed with all of you. Call your congressman. Tell them how you feel about this. Tell them you don't want to be a slave.
Yep. Absolutely. Call out the news media and all the lies that they are putting out day in and day out. And eventually people won't watch anymore. Look at CNN's ratings and look at Joe Rogan's. Right. People have a thirst for truth and knowledge and wanting to know what's actually going on. And they can sense when they're being lied to, which is something that I think a lot of people are awakening to and feeling. And they're wanting to search for what is actually true and what is good. So at least we have that in mind. And there's always that silver lining that people can feel when something's off. They just have to choose whether or not to acknowledge it. And that's what we're doing here at PragerU. If you guys want to help us do that, again, go to PragerU.com/donate. Every single bit of your donation goes towards the work that we are doing right here, right now, for you guys. Again, with nearly 100 employees helping you get creative content, merch, telling stories, telling Dennis's wisdom to the world and getting that out to people. So many things that we do here at PragerU that are going to be influencing the next generation of people and the current people living here in America who need that influence. So PragerU.com/donate if you'd like to support us. And that is our show for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, click the notification bell to be notified every single day when we go live. That's 2:30 Pacific, 5:30 Eastern. Leave a comment down below. What are some cities that we're forgetting that are having just as equal problems as this? We said San Francisco. We said New York. We said Chicago. And we know that Florida's not having that problem. Oh,
Miami a little bit.
My home state.
Other than that, yeah.
My home state. Anyways, guys, comment down below. Are there some cities that we're forgetting on that list? Do you live somewhere where these problems are just as rampant? Let us know and let your representatives know. And we will see you tomorrow, Wednesday, 2:30 Pacific, 5:30 Eastern. Bye, guys.
Bye.